Hello and welcome to the Reading Entertainment Podcast, episode 456 for June 30th, 2024. My name is Nathan Reitensbruth. Joining me this week, we have Connor, the cyberpunk monk Besh.
It's me. I'm here. I'm all that you have.
I don't know where Aro is at. He hasn't messaged us, so I assume he died suddenly.
He fell down the stairs and is currently doing the Family Guy death pose, where like the one leg is the opposite. Anyways,
I don't even think that. I'm thinking like the Peter Griffin when he like stubs his leg and it's just like
he's sitting like 4 feet away from his computer, just
I've been in that situation before where I like stub my toe and I'm like, I don't want to move now. Yeah. So it's just us. Tomorrow is July 1st. We're almost to the 4th of July. Do you have anything planned for the 4th of July?
I think I have to work.
I do. Oh wait, no, I don't have to work. Yeah, it's awesome.
Pretty sure I have to work. Like, I think the plan is my boss is gonna be like, all right, if nothing's going on, you guys could watch the queue from home. But yeah, I have a feeling I'm gonna have to stay the whole day.
Probably. Yeah. I first off, I'm your host, Nathan Reitensbruth, but like Juneteenth was a couple of weeks ago, and a little over a week ago now. And I had to work because even though technically we get the day off, the clinics don't get the day off. So they're like, "Hey, can somebody work this day? And you can have another holiday at some point. You just have to request it." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll work," because it's on a Wednesday.
It's cool to give you a holiday when that happens to me. It's like, hey, your salary, get to work.
I've said this before, but thankfully nobody listens to this podcast. My boss, one time he did that. He's like, "Hey, if you work, we'll work out another day that you could take off." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I want to take this day off, but I don't see how to request it in the system." And he's like, "You don't?" And I was like, "Oh, I see."
All right.
So it was, yeah. So if I need another day off, I just say, "Hey, I'm taking next Friday off," and he's like, "Cool," and then we don't talk about it ever again. Anyway,
that's cool when they're cool.
Yeah, exactly. Where can we find you?
You could find me. You could find you. You could find our absent friend at Aroa. At Aroa.website is what I meant to say. I know that sounds silly, but if you punch that URL into your browser of choice, it'll redirect you to all of our relevant social media links.
Yes, indeed. What's the one you want to...
One of those I'd like to draw everyone's attention to is Bug City Blues, a Shadowrun 6 World Edition actual play podcast. Worked pretty dang hard on it, and I think that you'll like it if you listen to it.
Yeah, we're gonna play that today.
I'm so excited. I probably overprepared, and we're definitely not going to get as far as what I have ready, or we're going to do something that I don't have ready, but it's going to be great. I'm so excited.
Good. And, of course, you can find me, Nathan Reitensbruth, everywhere at Reeton. The main one is Reeton on Twitch, twitch.tv/Reeton. I'm there Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time to 9 p.m. Pacific time, or thereabouts. I've noticed that my viewership has gone down. And I was like, what the heck? Why is viewership going down? Like, I already don't have a lot of viewership, and it's even lower than that. And then I realized it's summer. That's why. Because
I guess that makes sense.
Viewership for anything goes down in the summer. I
imagine your target demographic is people who are like probably already in bed.
Well,
it's not gonna change if it's summer.
Yes, it would, because people like go on vacations with their families and they're spending more time outside. So like professional wrestling is the one I always think of. They kind of don't try as hard in the summertime because they know that no matter what they do, they're not going to get that much viewership as opposed to like the wintertime when people are stuck inside.
I mean, like, I'm not gonna say it makes sense on the factor of like, hey, let's make a product, but it makes sense on the factor of like, we're not gonna have everybody watching right now. We should not be putting our best work into this.
Yeah. So I was like, oh man, I wonder what's going on, and that's why you don't see new shows starting up in the summer. You get summer blockbusters for movies, but like for TV shows, that's always in the fall because that's when people are at home starting to watch TV when the kids are going back to school and stuff.
Hmm.
Anyway, yeah. So what games have you played this week or last
Uh,
couple weeks?
it's been like a month since I've been on the show, and luckily it's mostly been the same game. I don't know, like I think around the last episode that I was on here, I'd mentioned I was playing Fallout 4 in survival mode,
Mm-hmm.
which is a pretty damn good game on Steam Deck. I'm glad they went and made it playable. It's very ironic, I think, that this is the most stable I've had a Fallout, or not a Fallout, but a Bethesda game like ever be, and it's on my Game Boy.
They did that. Like they made it playable, quote unquote. But it was playable before. Like you
It
could.
was fine, but I was still having crashes pretty frequently.
I see.
And whatever they did with this latest update, I don't think I can't. No, I've had exactly one crash, and I honestly I was kind of at fault. I was really pushing my luck with what I was doing.
I see.
But
You put up a bunch of TNT. Got it.
I was being a little funky with the physics. I admit it, but I digress. The what am I trying to say here? The survival experience, doing it at PC was great, but I was always like, I sure could be doing something better with my time than walking back to a settlement because I'm over encumbered. And that's just not really a problem on Steam Deck because it's like I'm at work on my lunch break. Yes, I will walk back to Sanctuary because I mean I'll listen to something at the same time or like you know what, it's not a big deal. It's fine. Or if I don't make it in one travel, I'll put my deck into sleep mode and pick it up when I'm ready. Really, that's what it is I could put my deck into sleep mode.
That's true. And are you playing the survival mode or are you playing uh just the base game?
Survival mode. And it's like the first time I tried it, I got to like level 20 and I was like, this is good but hard. And now I'm just about level 80. I'm just finishing the Far Harbor DLC. It's making me reconsider how survival works. Like Fallout is fine when you could just force yourself full of stim packs, but in survival mode, every time you use a stim pack, you get sick. Every time you use Radaway, you get sick. Every time you get into a fight with an insect, you get an infection. Or like you sleep in a used bed, you get an infection. It's
What are they
like
putting like I've been in used beds before. Like I've slept at hotel rooms and I don't get infections.
I mean, your used hotel rooms probably don't have latent fallout on them, but I'm like the point I'm saying about this is it makes me reconsider drastically how I'm playing the game, and it sure does make it nice when I'm also not needing to worry about the game crashing while I'm playing it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've never played survival mode because I'm just like that seems like not something I would enjoy. Just adding an extra layer of challenge on there.
It made me appreciate settlements so much more because settlements used to be like, haha, I'm gonna play Minecraft and Fallout. And now it's like, I need a bed so I have somewhere safe to sleep. I need water because I always need water. Oh, good lord, somewhere where I can cook my food. I need healthy food.
Yeah, yeah. Just go to the institute. They have everything there.
I haven't gotten that far yet. What I did learn in Far Harbor is for the longest time, I thought that grilled radstag and Meyerlurk was my favorite food. But then I took the ghoulish perk because I was getting really, really frustrated at always being sick at radiation. And now it turns out that radiation is my favorite food.
Oh,
I'll eat that
nice.
shit up all day long.
Kind of like in I think it's in Fallout 76. Uh, stim packs you can get them, but they're a little bit more difficult to get than in like Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas.
Hmm.
Um, and so I got the cannibal perk and I leveled that up all the way. And that's my favorite perk because I can eat everybody that I kill.
Hey, Reeton's a growing boy.
Yeah, and so like any human, it's funny because you can eat any humanoid, but you kill like a one of the Mirelurks can't eat raw fish.
Of course,
Raw
not. You'd get
human,
sick.
yeah, raw human, yes. Raw fish, no.
That's not raw. It's at 98.6 degrees approximately.
Well, and
It's.
you can also eat ghouls.
Don't think about it.
Ghouls, and they have a different one in there called I can't remember what they're called, but they're not ghouls, but they're like halfway between ghouls and humans. in Fallout 76, and you can eat them too. But you can't eat like animals or anything with the cannibalism perk, which makes sense because it's cannibalism. But still,
You
did
saw
you?
the television show, right?
Yes.
I was just gonna say you got to get your ass jerky from somewhere.
Yeah. You got that. The show was good. There were a couple questionable scenes, but it was a good show. May I ask you, did you play any other games?
No, but I would like to just briefly go off on an anecdotal tangent about how sometimes life can just kick you on the dick over and over.
Uh-huh.
So around the time that I disappeared from the show, I made a little bit of a frivolous impulse purchase. I was like, you know what? Haven't been spending a lot of money. I've been a good boy. Been working hard. I'm gonna get myself a little something. Warhammer, that silly little tabletop game that I like to play. They're increasing their prices, so I'm like, I'm gonna get me a big centerpiece model before that happens. Looked online. There was one more left in stock. It was like it was meant to be. Purchased that. Didn't really think anything about it. Next couple of days, I paid rent, which I'm only mentioning just like so we have a foundation of how much fucking money I've had to spend. I'm not complaining about having to spend rent. But then my car started breaking. And by that, I mean my front brake, like actually, I'm going to use the word disintegrated. I feel like that paints the appropriate mental picture. And for the longest time, it's been having this issue where if you drive too fast, the steering wheel starts shaking. And when you're poor, you just kind of deal with it. But after a while, it was like every time you drive anywhere, the wheel starts shaking, and every once in a while, I just start lifting to the left, and it's listing, whatever, drifting to the left, and it started getting really bad, and probably not street safe. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to finally do something about this. And on the way to the mechanics, like literally 30 seconds away from the parking lot, I start hearing this awful grinding noise, and I was like, "Oh, yep, there it is. It's finally done."
I've had that happen,
Get
yeah.
out. It just it disintegrated again. Is the best word I could think about it. Destroyed. In addition, I shared a photo in the Discord, the Reeton Entertainment Discord, where my muffler was just kind of hanging on the back, and you don't need a muffler to drive around, but it's really not good when it's just dangling from the back of your car.
I think the police also. I think there's in many cities there are laws against not having a muffler.
I don't think I need to worry about that ordinance. I hope not. I guess I'll find out.
Yeah.
And also, my plates expired, which again, like I'll renew my plates. I'm not complaining about that, but when it rains, it pours.
Yeah.
Uh,
My ours is 2 years. So is yours every year?
every year, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's
See,
like
we
it's getting bad. It's super expensive.
we do like 2 year registration, and it's like I think it's up to like $120. So it's $60 a year or something.
After the internal registration fees, it was $175. It's like Jesus Christ! Every
Jeez.
single car on the road is paying that.
Yep.
How are we a broke state? Anyways, I had been playing the ever living fuck out of my Steam Deck, as I had mentioned, even before I disappeared. And something about just playing it so much, I think I overused it and broke it. I was having this problem where while I was trying to play, like if I was holding forward, I would just stop or start going in a random direction. And didn't really think anything about it until I started using it in desktop mode. And every time I tried to use the keyboard, it would start freaking out like I was touching the screen or something. I did some troubleshooting for like a day straight, and I eventually found out it was one of the touchpads.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what happened, if it shorted or whatever, but it was always registering input. And if you were using anything else, it would stop that input of anything else to prioritize that touchpad. I was going to get a replacement touch panel, looked into that, and one of the things that I saw it recommended was just like, not replace, but reseat the connection. Like, I hate when an IT guy is like, "Did you turn it off and on again?" But damn it, if it doesn't, for some reason, usually work. And sure enough, I took my Steam Deck apart, which is super easy. Like, I
I
was a
hear it's
little
easy.
intimidated at first, but once I started doing it, I was like, I'm so glad that somebody designed this, obviously knowing that people are going to be taking it apart, and like you could do things to get in the way of that, or you can do things to help people on that end goal. And this thing's definitely designed with being a shell that could be like taken apart conveniently in mind. So thank you, Gabe Newell specifically, I assume.
Yeah, they came out with videos. Valve did that actually showed you how to take it apart before the Steam Deck was released.
I do think I definitely remember seeing people of taking them apart, like on iPower videos or whatever like that. Yeah, I saw a YouTube video showing me exactly what to do. It was I people get paid more money than I'm making right now to do stuff like that all day long, and it's like, I could do that.
Yeah. Just so you know, Oregon, it's $156. It's the most that you're gonna pay for registration for a gas vehicle, for 2 years. So not too
Uh,
bad. Uh,
Good. Oregon does a lot
however,
of good things.
however, if your vehicle is all electric, it's $316 for 2 years.
That doesn't seem like it's incentivizing electric vehicles very much.
I think it's because you don't pay the gas tax because you're not
Ah,
buying gas. So they up that. They make your fees a little bit more. But I don't have to worry about that. Anyway,
oh no,
you
I wasn't done.
yep,
Speaking
yep.
of fees, my microphone died, which
Oh yeah.
sucks because, as I mentioned earlier, talking into a microphone is one of my favorite hobbies. It kept on cutting off every word like halfway through. I listened to some recordings both in Audacity and with Greg, and was doing it on there too. And I was like, well, I guess it's time to upgrade. I've really been looking for an excuse to upgrade too. Got me a Shure Super 55. Got me a like an audio board. It's nice. I've been meaning
Yep.
to do this for a long time.
The Shure Super 55 is the same microphone as the one I have. So I think Connor also knew that it was a decent microphone, so might as
I
well.
knew it wasn't going to be awful. I do have some questions slash concerns with its performance. Mostly, like, just doesn't seem like it gets going at full power. I don't know how to. I'm still troubleshooting. It's still new enough where there could be something I'm using with it, and just like, oh, that should be slid this way, and it'll work better. Or so, I'm still playing around with it.
Could be the audio board too. You got the Fifine, which is kind of a entry level board that might not have as good of a DAC in it.
It might just be entry level equipment. Like
Yeah,
it's fine. Like it's working. Y'all can hear me right now.
exactly. And if you can't, we can always fix it in post. And by fix it in post, I mean just up the levels and then call it good.
I've threatened to re-record entire episodes before. I'm
Yeah.
crazy.
Uh,
Like a Roa.
yeah, Roa's recorded well, half of an episode before, which is your part. Yeah. So, did you have any other things you had to do?
I sure do. You thought I was done complaining about my financial situation?
Uh huh.
My editing computer is like falling apart.
Okay.
The screen on it has been dying for a while now, where it's just like I'll be using it and you can't see anything. It gets completely like washed. And I know what it is. It's a bad driver. And I've tried to manually revert back the driver to when it was good. And it just doesn't want to, it does that thing where it's like it failed to install. We're reverting back to the latest good driver. But it's not good. And it's getting worse.
Oh, good.
In addition, the keyboard's not working. It's the second Surface keyboard that I've used, and the first one disintegrated so much because I used it so much, so that's fair. But now it's just not registering inputs; it's registering phantom inputs, which when you're editing audio with it, that sure does make it very impossible. I was getting very stressed out when I was editing the last episode because I'd be like doing a precision edit, and suddenly the mouse would just flick itself to another part of the screen. It's like, well, I need to reset everything from square one now.
Yeah, you use a Surface still, right? That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say if you need a new screen, you could just like monitors are cheap, but then you're using a Surface, which isn't gonna be good to replace.
Current
They are
model.
the opposite of the Steam Deck.
Yes, the model of Surface that I have is amongst the worst rated by the like. I think it's iBuyPower. They have like a how easy is it is to fix rating, and they're amongst the worst.
Yeah, was it a 3 that you had, or was it a newer one?
Originally, I had a 3. Now I have a 7. I was looking at some new ones. Apparently, they have fixed this problem. The latest Surface, the one that's like we have AI in mind, is amongst the best for repairs.
I don't know if I would go with the Surface or
I don't
any.
know. This is my third one. It would be my third one at this point. I think maybe it's time to start looking at other things.
They're good.
Especially
I mean, they're good. They're just not like. It's not what I would get because I'm also really cheap, and they seem to be more expensive than comparable hardware from other like Lenovo or something like that.
it's the Macintosh of the Windows world. Like
Yeah.
it's a little overpriced, and I'm not against admitting that. But I don't, and just because you mentioned like specifically laptops, I don't need like a portable gaming station. I got my Game Boy if I need that. I need something that is convenient to haul around, it's portable enough in the sense that like I could plug an adapter into it and then plug it into an HDMI cable and it'll just work.
Yeah.
I would like something with a touch screen or a pen just because I've been using them and it is nice to just write my notes sometime. But like that's not that much to ask for. I could probably find something pretty cheap that accomplishes that with decent hardware in it. Like it could handle video editing, maybe even.
Just use the Steam Deck.
Just use the Steam Deck for video editing. I mean, I could. I could
Yeah,
put Audacity on my Steam Deck.
it's true. You could. Did you have any other things to complain about?
I sure do.
Oh, good.
Remember how I mentioned I had ordered like the Warhammer thing, and I had gotten the new mic and the and everything like that. So, it got delivered. Amazon's like it's in the box. Went to go get my mail, and I went to go jiggle the key, and like it inserted, it turned, but it didn't unlock. So
Uh-huh.
my the lock on my mailbox, like it could turn, but it wouldn't actually disengage. Called the facilities to fix it. They had someone look at it, and they're like, "Nope, you're gonna have to call the post office and get someone to look at it." So it took them over a week ultimately from the time we reported the issue to the time that I could get my goddamn mail. Of being like, I am 2 inches away from you right now. I could probably open the box in less legitimate ways,
So
but go
I
on.
think I might have told this story last week. I know I told Aroa, but I don't know if I told it on air. So I got a $50 gift card from work because we had to implement a transcription solution. Basically was our interpreter solution for like if somebody calls in and we don't have somebody who speaks Spanish in the clinic, then we have an interpreter. And so we're getting phones specifically for that. And it was one of those things that was, hey, we don't really need this. We don't know what's going on. Hey, everyone, we need this installed yesterday. And so we all got like a group of clinics to help get these installed. And my boss messaged us and said, first person to get their clinics done gets $50 gift card. Second person gets a $25 gift card. I just want to incentivize you to get this done. And then once we were all done, he's like, "You're all getting $50 gift cards." So we all got $50 gift cards, and I ordered something from Amazon because I was like, I'm going to Australia, and I want a decent headset for a 15-hour plane ride. I want a headset that's going to last the 15 hours. And so I ordered that. Well, my boxes, it's annoying to explain, but basically we have two boxes for our mailboxes that have like 20 people in each box. And then there's parcel 1 and parcel 2 on each box. Well, when I went there, I was like, oh, my headset's here. And the person who got the key for box 1, parcel 2, used their key in box 2, parcel 2. Somehow they were able to get it to like force it open with that and then took my headset. Did not look at the address, or they did, and were like, oh, sweet, free headset. And so I reported it. Nothing happened. So I reported it to Amazon, and they sent out a new headset. And I was like, okay, great. And so the headset says it's delivered. I go and I open the box with the key that with the correct. I got the key, put it in, opened it up, and I live in unit 22, and the box that they had in that, the shipment that they had in that box was for unit 2.
Uh-huh.
And
Sounds
so,
like your mail carrier is probably on drugs.
so they're bad right now. I don't know. They used to be great. I don't know what happened. So I called up the post office, and I had explained to them what happened before. And so the lady was like, seriously? And so she didn't contact she was just like, oh, we'll get that to you, don't worry. And so she sent her helper at like the very end of the day. She's just like, can you go just open the box and deliver it to him? And so at like 4:30, I got a knock at the door, and the lady's like, "Here's your package." Like, okay, great.
That was cool of them to do, like
Yeah.
courier it over like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the post office is like a mile away from my house because I live in such a small place. Everything's a mile away from my house.
Right.
So yeah, they were able to get that delivered. So I had similar shipping issues, is what I'm saying.
Just it was a big annoyance of them being like, "Yeah, we can get that fixed," and a week later being like, "Yeah, we should be able to get that fixed. Come on, guys."
Just open the box. It's a key. You open it, you open the whole thing, and you hand the package to the person. That's what happens.
And then of equal frustration, and finally on my list, that the place where I live, we're supposed to have a pool. And we went there once, and everything was fine. Then we went to go there again, and it kept on like the access denying us. And we're like, "What the fuck?" We reached out to the committee. We're like, "Oh, we need to go and retroactively make sure that something was paid." And roommate specifically was like, "Well, here's the receipt showing that it was paid, but if you guys didn't get the money, I'll just go ahead and reach out to my bank and get that refunded." And they're like, "No, no, no, we'll look into it." But they still haven't actually turned back on our access.
Ah.
So we asked about that, and they needed to retroactively pay us a service fee in order to look for this payment for a previous month that we probably already did.
Interesting.
Just if anyone's wondering what it's like being an adult, it's just constantly getting kicked in the dick financially.
Yep. I completely agree. I've had lots of stuff like that as well. However, so is that everything to complain about?
That's
You have anything more?
When it rains, it pours. I'm super broke right now. I'm a sad baby.
So you don't want to
Let's
go
talk
to
about video games.
You're not going to go to Australia with me then?
I cannot afford Australia right now. I'm so sorry.
It'll be fun. It'll be fine. I already got the Airbnb rented. It'll be fine.
Australia, I can't afford to go out of town.
You can't afford to go to the airport. I'm going to talk about the games I played. I played the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection with Durga on Monday, and it was great. We played a few of the games. We beat a few of them. There was one at the end. I think it's a Hyperstone Heist. We got to the end, but we were not able to finish it, and we ran out of continues. Because they are just the old games. There are 13 games included.
So you shoved quarters inside of your computer's CD drive, and then it lets you play, right?
So some of them are the actual arcade games. There are a couple of the Game Boy games included. There's a Sega Genesis game. They have Turtles in Time, the arcade game, and they have Turtles in Time, the SNES game.
Cool.
So they have a couple variations of a couple of the games, and then just a bunch of the other games. Half of them are multiplayer. So like the SNES version's obviously multiplayer. The Genesis is the arcade games, but then you have like the Game Boy games aren't going to be multiplayer because they're Game Boy games. And
you
not
can't use your link cable and play 4-bit goodness with your buddy?
I think that the Game Boy would explode if you tried to have two characters on screen at once like that.
Anything more complicated than Pokemon sprites dancing in place? Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was a fun time. It was a good collection. It was on Green Man Gaming. I don't know if it's still on sale there, but it was only $13. So if you have more money than Connor, you can go buy that. I don't think Connor can afford that right now, but $13 is pretty good price for it.
It's not very difficult to have more money than me right now.
And then I played the Ayuden Chronicles. Or I'm sorry, Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. That's the game I'm currently playing through. I started it because it looked good. I was trying to get the Mass Effect Legendary Edition reinstalled on my computer, and it like failed to install. And then I couldn't uninstall it, so I was like, screw it, I'll just do Ayuden, because I already have it installed, and I'll fix Mass Effect and play that next, because I haven't played Mass Effect 3 yet. And I was like, Ayuden, it's a new JRPG. A lot of those are only like 20 or 30 hours. 50 hours. Mm-hmm. It's a 50-hour game. Of course. So I will be playing that for the next few weeks, maybe until I go to Australia. We'll see.
I was just gonna say, I think it's so funny that every time you're like, I'm going on vacation, you're also like, I'm gonna start at a 180-hour video game and try to beat it first.
Yeah, sometimes it works out. Other times not so much, but it should be okay. It's only 50 hours, and I do about 10 hours a week. So that it should not take that long, and I've already been playing it for a week and a half. So I should be able to finish it before I go to Australia, but we'll see. Maybe I'll do a long stream the night before. And then on Friday, Airfox and I played Back 4 Blood.
Yeah, I saw you playing that for a minute there. It looked very Left 4 Dead-ish.
It is. It's basically Left 4 Dead. We had one disconnect, and we were worried that we would lose everything. So we had a disconnect. We went back to like the starting hub area. We were still in a party, and we restarted that act. And it does make you restart from the beginning of that like part, but we kept all of our weapons and items that we had collected throughout the rest of the run. So I was pretty happy about that. It seemed I never had a problem with the difficulty of it, mainly because I'm really good at doing headshots on zombies apparently. But it does seem that they tweaked the difficulty so it's less difficult than it used to be. On at least normal difficulty.
I never played it originally, but I don't remember it being like a Dark Souls kind of like the difficulty is the appeal kind of game. Was it notoriously hard?
A lot of people, not me, again, not me, because I was not having problems with it.
Not me, I'm good at video games.
Yeah.
But other people.
Well, no, this was actually like in my chat when Back 4 Blood first came out, one of my viewers, Adam, was like, you are carrying this team, Reeton. He said that he played it with a group and they were struggling with it, and that I was just like wrecking what they were doing. So apparently I am pretty good at this one particular game that's kind of mediocre. And it was only $6 on Steam. Apparently they took it off of Game Pass, so you can't play it on Game Pass for free anymore, or included with Game Pass. So I was like, I'll just buy it on Steam for the $6 that is on sale there. And we had some good times, but it did not carry over my saves. So I didn't have any of the cards or anything that I had collected previously, but that's all right. We were just playing it to have fun. And it was all right. It was good. It was Left 4 Dead-y. The one of the main problems with that game when it came out is that a lot of people said that it should have had a better PvP mode, because the PvP mode was not the PvP mode from Left 4 Dead. It was like an arena battle thing instead of...
So let me get this straight. The thing that people love about Left 4 Dead, the 4v4, where 4 of them are the special infected and 4 are the survivors.
Yeah.
Like, probably the best part of Left 4 Dead, maybe?
That's what a lot of people think, yes.
Copy and paste that?
They did not copy and paste that. They did. It's like a separate mode where I do think you can play as the monsters, but it's not going through the campaign. Which I think is what the appeal is for people, is to go through the campaign, but have the special infected be actual humans.
It was just such a uniquely fun approach. Like, sitting in a lobby, having the survivors and the infected in the same group was so fun. Like, maybe I'm just nostalgic for the days when full lobbies of people would play games together, but no, fuck that. Left 4 Dead, like Left 4 Dead 2, the asymmetrical combat on that was good. Coordinating felt good.
Lots of people really liked it. I wasn't a huge fan, but I started playing it I played the PvP of it years after it was already out. So I was just like, this is all right.
I guess I just wonder why they went with a battle royale mode of all things. It seems so what everyone else is doing, I guess.
It wasn't really a battle royale mode, but it was like an arena thing that you had. Like it was kind of like a horde shooter, from what I recall, where you had the 4 survivors trying to survive in this horde mode, and then you had the PvP, or we had the other humans playing as the monsters, the other normal people playing as monsters. But that was all it was just like a horde mode with PvP in it, and it didn't really. It didn't really hit the same, is what I'm saying.
I mean, not that a horde mode PvP game can't be fun, but games are supposed to be fun, right? Right? The
Yeah.
sandbox, clicking on heads, shooty, shooty, shoot. That gets
Yep.
boring to other people, right?
It does. But those are the games I played: Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga Collection, Ayuden Chronicle, and Back 4 Blood. I'll be playing more games this week on Twitch at twitch.tv/Reeton. We're going to talk about some news stories. Let's start with this one. I don't have them in any particular order right now in the thing, but we're going to talk about the Steam game recording.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this.
Have you used it yet?
No, not yet. I did check before, basically when you posted the story, whether or not I had it in the queue ready to download in the beta feed. It wasn't there yet, but maybe I had to go into the settings and be like beta plus or whatever.
You have to update the client. Go to like help, about, update, or whatever, or settings. I think it's Steam, and then check for updates. You have to do that, and then relaunch, and then you can go into the opt into the beta.
So I probably just need to reboot at this point. But
yeah,
inevitably I am going to do that because I've been sort of missing this one feature on my Steam Deck. Like,
so
the Switch can do it. Why can't the Steam Deck? You know?
Yeah, the problem I have, and it's not a huge problem. It's just when you go and let's first say you go in there, you set up the beta. It gives you the option for the recording, and you can choose how much time you want to record for, or like up to. And they give you a time that you're able to do it. Give me just a second to look this up. But basically, you get like 120 minutes as the default.
Oh.
Is the maximum recording time. So let's say you have multiple games. You're playing a game for an hour, then you play a game for 2 hours. It will overwrite the first hour that you played because you've went over that 120 minutes.
I'm just gonna say it. If you're recording 2 hours of content and you're not sure if that's keeping or not, and you don't know until you hit that record button, I think the onus is just a little bit on you at that point.
Well,
I was
what
looking
you can
for like 10 to 30 seconds.
Well, okay, so you can do that too. So there is a record in background mode, which automatically records when you start up the game. So whatever game you start up, it'll just automatically start recording your gameplay, which would be good for somebody like me who plays a lot every week and may want to do something like that. Then there is a record on demand function where you press Control F11, it starts recording, and then you press Control F11 to stop that recording. There is no way to just say record like the last 30 seconds of gameplay yet. Then you get to choose the length, the maximum length of how much footage you have. I put 600 minutes. And then I chose the highest quality. So the base is 120 minutes, so 2 hours at 12 megabits per second. You can then change the amount of time that you want to record for, and you can change to a different quality setting. So I chose 600 minutes at 24 megabits per second. And that the entire 600 minutes will take up roughly 108 gigs, which I think is pretty reasonable.
That's a lot of space, but I mean, space is also pretty cheap nowadays.
Yeah, that's just going on my 3 or 4 terabyte hard drive. Yeah, my 4 terabyte external hard drive. So it should be fine. You then get to choose like which folder you put it into. You can create like timeline markers. So like, say something really cool happens, you're recording the whole thing, you press Control F12, it'll put a marker there to show, like, hey, that's where something cool happened, and then you can clip that. Like, you can go
into this dungeon, clip, this is where it starts.
Yeah, something like that. Or, hey, I just got a really cool kill, clip. And, you add that timeline marker, and then you go in, after you're done with that, so you get all that set up, you play a game, some cool stuff happens, You then can go into view and recordings and screenshots, and you can then watch the previous recordings. I just looked, and this is really funny. I have SoundPad, so when I play my the music at the beginning of the stream, or I'm sorry, the beginning of the podcast, that's through SoundPad. It's recording that. It's recording SoundPad because it's through Steam.
Mhm.
But anyway, you can click on your previous recording. Like I have Back for Blood in there. But you can't. So if you go into the folder that you set up to record all this stuff, and you go, hey, I'm going into my Steam recordings folder, and then you go to video, it all comes out as like chunks stream0.m4s files, which you cannot play on your computer. So you have to go into Steam and then create a clip from that file, whether it's the whole video or individual clips, but you have to export it to your computer, and that takes like 20 minutes.
I don't know how I feel about that. It seems like probably could have. I mean, why? Why is the only question I have. Is
Yeah.
it like a hyper efficient format that they're saving it in, or something like that?
It's like, yes, that's probably it. Is you're probably just getting a really good compression there, compared to like exporting it as a H.264 or H.26. They want to do H.265 or AV1, but yeah, it's probably just more efficient to keep it in that, and then you can export it, and you can. There's like a little bit of a video editing thing in there where you can choose, like, I want to clip out this 30 seconds or this 2 minutes or whatever, rather than clipping the whole file and then putting it into a video editor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool. I do wish that there was an option to like automatically export everything, like when your computer's idle or after the game ends, it just takes it and exports it to a folder, instead of having to do it yourself.
Or
But
even
yeah,
like
it's
queuing things up, like service based, like up 6 o'clock. It's just gonna go do render farm things until its stop point.
yeah. But yeah, I would say do it for your Steam Deck and see how it works for you. While playing Halo or Fallout, not Halo.
I could try it out. I worry about how it's gonna hurt background performance, but I mean, I could try it out.
I don't think it will hurt background performance that much. Probably because it's going to be using the video codec that's not being utilized when you're playing games. So like, NVIDIA has NVENC, and then AMD has their own video codec, or whatever it's called. And it's all background. It's on a separate. It's not. I don't think it's on a separate chip, but it's on a separate part of it, so it doesn't like affect performance at all.
I mean, it'd be cool if it like just works. I'll definitely be checking it out, like just in the fact that I like my Steam Deck being up to date.
Can you be a little louder?
No.
Maybe not that loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's neat, and I will be utilizing that in the future. It's in beta right now, so hopefully some updates happen. I would like the two things I would like would be have like a 30-second clip button. So a lot of the recorders that you see, even Shadowplay I think has it, where you can record like the last 30 seconds, like keeps like a buffer where it's like 30 seconds or a minute in memory that you press the button and it just automatically saves and creates a clip from that. I would like that. And then I would like the ability to just have it automatically create clips when you exit the game. But
When you exit the game, I think I feel like I remember Xbox doing that, where like every time you get an achievement, it would like maybe it was an Xbox. I don't.
I
remember
think it
what
was.
I'm
I
thinking
think I think there was something like that on Xbox.
of. But it kind of died. It used to do it like when you do achievements or if you won a game or whatever. Like it was kind of neat.
You could share. I think you could share
Yeah.
it to like Twitter or whatnot. Yeah. What mine is, I would just like it to automatically export into a file that I could put into a video editor instead of having to manually go in and be like, I want to create this clip or whatnot. Or at least make it so that you could do the 30-second clips and those are automatically exported to your folder, even if the
Yeah.
whole thing isn't.
Being able to make recordings on Steam Deck, for example, would be cool. But like you said, the thing that I really would like is that shadow record. Like I said, my Switch can do it. Why can my Steam Deck not do it?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, we're getting there. They're working on it.
This is a good first step in that direction.
Exactly. And now we're gonna move on to our next story. This is from Kotaku. Gamer flies across country to attack MMO rival with a hammer.
Crazy bastard did what we were all thinking.
See, I am like, I don't know about you, but I cool down. Like, I'll get mad, but then I calm down really quickly. And so, like, if I get mad at somebody, I won't ever really even think about resorting to violence. But I'll get mad, and then like 5 minutes later, I'm done. Or back when we were doing like LAN parties, like Halo LAN parties, I'd get mad at a friend during a game, and then after the match, I'd be like, "You're an asshole. I hate you. Let's go get McChickens." Like, it was that quick that I would just be over it. And so the idea of being so mad at somebody that I buy a plane ticket and fly across the country, like, my brain would just be like, why am I paying $700 to do this? What the fuck is going on with my life?
This sure isn't worth it financially speaking.
Exactly. But we're going to go into the story. There's a man from New Jersey. This is, again, from Kotaku, was charged with attempted second-degree murder over the weekend after... Wait, okay. I'm calling bullshit on this because the person had to buy a fucking ticket to fly across the country. This is first degree.
That's a little premeditated.
Yeah. Second-degree murder over the weekend after he flew to Florida and attacked another gamer with a hammer, allegedly over a dispute in an MMORPG. Can you look up prices while I'm reading this?
New Jersey to Florida?
Yeah, New Jersey to Florida, wherever, just even like Miami or something like that. I don't know where, but yeah, New Jersey to Miami or whatnot. On the morning of
New York to Florida, it's less than $100. I'm surprised.
That's not bad. I mean, I wouldn't pay it to go hit somebody with a hammer, but that's not too bad.
I mean, for under $100, now I kind of see where it's coming from. Like, I'd be mad, and then I'd go to the airline and be like, "Oh shit, it's only $100." Well, I mean, I could do that. And look, there's a Home Depot right next to it.
Nice. On the morning of June 23rd, Edward Kang, a 20-year-old man, was arrested by Nassau County, Florida police after arriving at the house of Zachary Din, who had to give his full name, and allegedly assaulting him with a hammer he bought at a store just before the attack. So I guess he did just go to the Home Depot next door.
It's on the way.
According to police, as reported by the New York Times, Kang had never met Din in person, but the two had allegedly interacted in the MMORPG Archage. Note here, though, Edward is 20-year-old man. So he flew there, but he can't rent a car. So he had to either Uber to the guy's house or like take public transit.
And it's Florida, so probably not public transit.
Yeah. So at this time, it probably costs more to Uber to the guy's house than it did to fly there, apparently. At this time, it's unknown exactly what happened between the two men online, but police said the hammer attack was caused by an online altercation within Archage. And then it goes, the quote basically saying the sheriff didn't know why. According to the police, Kang flew from Newark to Jacksonville. There we go. We got Newark to Jacksonville, if you could look that up. And then checked into a Florida hotel on June 21st. Allegedly, Kang told his family that he was traveling to Florida to visit a friend. Well, of sorts. Upon arriving in Florida, he visited a local hardware store and bought a hammer and a flashlight. Then, early on Sunday morning, while dressed in all black clothes and wearing a mask, he arrived at Din's house and entered via unlocked door. Once Kang got in, Kang reportedly began attacking the victim with a hammer. His Din's stepfather heard the commotion and intervened. The two men then worked together to subdue the attacker and called the police.
God, that's so unhinged levels of crazy.
I know,
And
like,
pretty on average about $170.
so you got $170 plus you got a hotel room. That's gonna be, let's say it's a cheap hotel room, so $100. It's a really cheap hotel room, but you can find them. So you're talking under $300 to go there and hit somebody with a hammer. I still don't think it's worth it. I would calm down. But that's just me. Maybe
If Nathan
maybe
was like down the street and really frustrating me, maybe I'd hit him with a hammer. Maybe.
even
It'd
then.
really have to be like a hammer-worthy kind of offense. But like, man, we're talking about like, we're talking about sitting in lines with the security. This is like, no, this is going out of your way to commit a crime.
Yeah, yeah. The sheriff said, "This is a weird one. Some things that make you go, some things you just can't make up. There's some things that make you say, what in the world was he thinking? And there are some things that make you say, you're not going to believe this. This case makes you say all four of those things." Police questioned King as to why he attacked Den with a hammer, and he simply said, he's a bad person online.
Yeah, and honestly, I do think that if more people were attacked with hammers, we'd probably have less bad people online. I'm not advocating for it. I think there's probably better ways that we could fix this particular problem. I'm just saying that it probably would work.
So, and just so you know, Archage is shutting down on June 20, or it shut down on June 27th.
Too many hammer-related crimes?
No, it's just lack of users. It's been, have you played Archage?
No.
It's all right. It was a good game, but it was ruined by like microtransactions and stuff. So the base game was really good, and then the company who owned it, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Nexon, and then it might have changed. So yeah, it's shutting down. Then they're coming out with Archage 2, which is going to be probably just as bad. But yeah, it was. You could build a boat, like you could build your own ship and sail around the world, which is really cool. But
if your appeal for a game is you could go sailing.
Yeah.
And what else? Oh, you mean you have to do stuff in the game?
There are other things you can do, but that was the one that I thought was most interesting, is how you like collected the materials and stuff to build the boat. It's don't attack people with hammers. That's my moral there.
Even
also,
when you really, really want to.
Yeah, and he went to Florida. You know how easy it is to get other weapons in Florida?
Look, I'm just saying there's some things I'm willing to do, and going to Florida for just about anything that's already a big ask.
Going to Florida is not. Oh man, I really want to go attack this guy. He's in Florida. It's not really worth it. And in the summer, you know how hot it's going to be down there? Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, it's the heat. It breeds a particular kind of strain of crazy in people.
I bet. But yeah, that's shockingly cheap to go from Newark to Jacksonville. So if you ever want to do that, don't do it. Don't go to Jacksonville, Florida. You're in New York. You could just go up to Canada. Canada's way better than Florida.
Well, I mean, he's in New Jersey.
That's still close. It's closer to Canada than it is to Florida. Anyway, so our last story has to do with War Thunder. War Thunder just keeps. We have a lot of stories that we've talked about where people on the War Thunder forums keep giving out classified documentation.
Yeah, it sure is a game riddled with controversy, mostly by the people with way too much clearance who insist on playing it and being like, yeah, this is cool, but no, it'd really be cooler if the back part of the tank had exactly 6 pistons at 10 millimeters separated each with a tension strength of 10. Like, yeah. Calm down, buddy.
Yeah. So this is a different one. This is actually a problem with them using. So War Thunder actually, like the people who made the game, actually had the controversy this time, where they used the photo from the explosion of the Challenger in some of its imagery. And so they had to apologize, which gives me the right to say that their artwork went up like the Challenger. And
I guess I wouldn't feel good about saying that.
I'm not. I don't, but I've been hanging on to that line for years, and I'm happy that I was able to say it. But yeah, so they rolled back. They used an explosion of the Challenger in part of its imagery, and they're like, "Oh no, we'll be altering this artwork as soon as we can, and now, just do it now. We called in people to work overtime."
I'm just gonna say it, and I know this might not be in the best taste, maybe, but why is that not public domain footage?
I think it is. The problem that people had with it was because they were using imagery of a space shuttle that blew up in the 80s.
It's definitely not in great taste. I'm not faulting that. But as long as the argument's not like, you can't use that, you don't have permission, it's like, go fuck yourself.
No, it wasn't. So it says here, while some players tried to paint this realization in a nefarious light, most others assume that the explosion cloud was part of some AI generator artwork sourcing an otherwise widely available photo from the historic event. The reality of the situation was a bit more mundane, as the cloud was part of an aerial explosion reference pack used by their artist, and the context was lost. So they got, first off, they used an artist explosion reference pack, which is fine. That's standard across the industry to have like baked in like effects and stuff that you can put into movies, and any blockbuster movie will have like baked in effects or whatever for like smoke clouds and stuff. Have you ever seen Captain Disillusion stuff?
No.
So Captain Disillusion will go, he is a visual artist, and then he makes YouTube videos like debunking like viral clips that come out and being like, no, this actually isn't real. This is fake because of XYZ.
I'm sorry. Yes, I totally seen this guy before.
Yeah. And he will go on and be like, this is actually, he's like, I spend so much time with visual effects that he starts noticing, he's like, this is dust cloud number 3 from this pack, and this is this thing from this pack. And so the artists had a aerial explosion reference pack that they were just using and putting in the artwork. But my question is, why was the Challenger explosion as part of that pack?
I mean, it is an explosion. Like, if you're using it for reference art, it is an identifiable, like, you could use that as a meme, maybe. Again, it's really bad taste. But...
They moved it. So with this pack, from what it sounds like they did, was they took the smoke from the explosion, separated it from the Challenger, and then like cleaned it up so it looked, so it's like transparent and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that way they could put it in their artwork and have that explosion be part of that. So it was, as I said here, it was taken, the context was lost for it. So they just saw the explosion and the smoke, or they just saw the smoke, but they did not see the explosion. So the artist didn't know it was from the Challenger.
Am I wrong in thinking that that's not that bad? Like, given that context?
With that context, I don't think it's that bad for the artists or War Thunder. I think it's bad for the people who made the reference pack.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting
like,
at.
Like you jokingly said earlier, like, nope, we got someone on overtime specifically to replace that asset right now. That is the proper way you fix that issue.
Uh-huh.
But, yeah, like, reference art should be available for people to learn from. Like, if people are painting a model, that same model's not going to show up in the final product for, like, legal reasons. In that same...
if you buy these packs, then you have the licensing to use that, and it's, making art's difficult. So like, okay, we're just going to use this, we'll put this in here, and we'll make the other stuff around it. So I actually don't think that's that bad of a thing because they're still
But then
making
don't
like
profit off of a fucking disaster. There's other
Yeah.
explosions. Yeah,
Yeah.
hell, you could go out and make explosions.
yeah, we do it all the time.
We do it all the time. We're Americans.
Yeah,
And like a week from now, we are going to blow up a part of our country and celebrating it.
every single year. So not even just in my town. So in my town, where I used to live, every year they would set off fireworks from what we called the hill, because it was the hill that was in town, and every single year that hill catches on fire from the 4th of July fireworks. And then about 35 miles away, I did not know this until a few years ago, they have their own hill that also catches on fire every year. And I'm like, wow, we are really bad at this.
It's a American custom to have a fire hill.
And every single year, so what'll happen is everybody will be watching the fireworks, and then you see the hill start catching on fire, and you hear people cheering because they're so happy that the hill's on fire. So it's tradition. We did get an update from Aroa, and he slept through his alarm. So that's why he isn't here today.
No one's going to listen to this anyways. It's fine.
I hope his cat's all right.
I hope his cat's fine.
So I should not name the episode Up Like the Challenger?
Do whatever you want, man.
Do whatever you want. I'm just not going to participate in the podcast ever again. That's what's going to happen.
If that's really what you need to do to find happiness in life, I'm not going to stop you.
No. But yeah, it was... I don't think that's that bad. I think that this is far less egregious than sharing classified documents to win an online battle.
But how are you going to win your imaginary tank fight without using actual tank statistics?
I mean, I get it. Trust me, I understand wanting to use classified documentation to win an online argument. I love winning arguments.
I just know for a fact that some nerd-ass soldiers had to sit in a conference room that probably didn't have air conditioning and listen to somebody give a 2-hour briefing on why you can't give classified notes in video games.
Yeah.
All because this keeps on happening.
It does. It just every couple of weeks you see it. It's silly. But yeah, so War Thunder is going to be changing their art a little bit here. I didn't even look at the imagery. I guess I could click on that and look at the imagery. But let's see if it loads or if they've taken it down already. Oh, I see. Okay, I totally get it. So if you click on its imagery link, it does show the smoke from the Challenger, and you could totally tell. I've seen the Challenger explosion before, and you could totally tell that that's what that's from.
I'm not faulting the artists on this one. It seems like it was pretty out of their realm of control.
Yeah.
My onus is on the people who made this pack and were like, let's make money off this. That's a bad taste.
Yeah, that's really bad taste. But anyway, they're gonna be changing that as soon as possible, and it'll fly. Nobody will talk about it a week from now. But I would like to. That's it. That's all the news stories for this week. It was a pretty slow week. But I would like to thank you for being here at Cyberpunk Monk since Aroa wasn't.
I was happy to eat up a whole lot of time and do the service that you needed me to. He came by on bent knee, hat in hand, begging me to do the podcast this week.
You wanted to test out your microphone before we played games tonight.
It's true. Hopefully it's fine.
That was the only reason. But yeah, we'll be back next week. I'll be back next week, and then the week after, I believe, I'm not going to be here. So I don't know if there's going to be a podcast that week, but I have work to do. And by work to do, I mean Sunday I am traveling, and my boss was like, "Hey, so we need to go do the move and stuff for this clinic on Monday and Tuesday, and you can go up there on Sunday and get paid overtime to drive there. And I was like, yeah, that sounds
Hell
good.
yeah, I can.
So, all right. So, and then I get paid. So I get paid overtime, plus I get paid to drive there for mileage, plus I get a free hotel room for like 2.5 days.
Man, my boss is always just like, "Hey, we need this off-site work done, so chop chop." He's never like, "Hey, you want some overtime? We'll pay you for a hotel. I'll do it."
You have salary though. That's the problem.
Yeah, I know.
And you
I'm
make
not
over
complaining. I really like my job.
what is it, $47,000 a year now?
I do make over $47,000 a year. Yeah.
Yeah. The $47,000 a year is if you make under that as salary, they have to pay you overtime until you make up to $47,000 a year.
I like that rule. That's a good
Yeah.
rule.
It was 20 something, like 23 or 24,000. And then we spoke about this, I think Aroa and I did. The previous so the Obama administration raised it up to 40 something thousand. And then the next administration lowered it back down to 30 something thousand.
I'm not so hot with that decision.
And then the current administration raised it back up to 40 something thousand. So
Oh wait, hold on. I think I misunderstood that. Was it lowered as in you make that and then anything after that you get overtime, or
no,
is that the cap?
That was yeah. So that was the cap. So the Obama administration raised it up so that it was like 40 something thousand from the 20 something, from like 25,000. So that way, if you worked over 40 hours a week, they would still have to pay you up to that 45,000 or whatever it was.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. That
then,
makes sense to me. That's how it
yeah.
should be.
And then the Trump administration lowered that to like 35,000. So you would get the overtime up until you made 35,000. So it's effectively lowering people's pay. And then the current administration raised it back up to 47,000 and then tied it into inflation. So now it's going to be going up every year or two.
Good.
Yeah. Anyway, we will be back next week talking about more news stories and stuff. Goodbye.
Goodbye. I gotta go make dinner. I'm like running out of time.
Okay, have fun.
Bye.
Bye.